Hi all, DT Neil, talking about stories, storytelling, genre, writerly laments, and a myriad of other things. Um, my earlier post about retellings and remakes and risk aversion, I think what that should communicate to people is just how fraught the entertainment industry is these days. How manifestly risk averse they are, which is a reflection of the capital outlays that go into the creation of these entertainment franchises. And when they have something that succeeds, just how either others imitate it or how much they throw into it. But even something, and again, the obvious example, which I've referenced before, is the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which hit absolute gold in its primary iteration. After decades of Marvel struggling to get footing, they managed to hit the sweet spot with the MCU and did it at least until Endgame. And the amount of money, and again, that's what they care about, that rolled in from that was historic. But what's interesting is just how quickly it's all come apart, because they carried it through. And I think looking at the Doomsday stuff, like, to me, that feels like them absolutely grasping at straws to try to find the magic again. But they're doing it in such a derivative way that I think that's fraught. I think there'll be a lot of money behind that, clearly, and a lot of, incredible people pushing those things. But I think that, and I might be wrong, but I look at that and it just feels a little bit, little crazy quilt to me. Like, it feels like they're just like, we'll take this and this and this and this and put these actors and these big names and we'll put it together in this incredible story. Like, those, whatever the writers are that are working on that, I feel such sorrow for, because this feels like an impossible mission. And writers seem so overlooked and disregarded in Hollywood. And with so much writing on this, especially with the failure of some of these other more recent MCU efforts, and with the monolithic entity that is Disney calling the shots with regard to that, and their own entertainment empire, and how fraught that is, it just feels to me really dicey. And so, from going back to what I said a minute ago, the margins are absolutely perilous with regard to these creative efforts, these big efforts. And that's what fuels that incredible risk aversion and corporate cowardice I just said earlier. Like, they want the sure thing. But now we're in this interesting and disturbing, perhaps, state where the sure thing isn't a sure thing anymore, because audiences may not dig it. The writing may not be there, and I hate to put it to them that how much as they blow off writers. Writing matters. A well-written show, you can feel it. I know I can. You can feel when a show is thinly written, when they're kind of phoning it in, versus one where there's legitimate good writing in there, where they have paid attention to those narrative stakes to produce something that when you look at it, you go, that was really good. I've already mentioned it, but the Pantheon, fantastic. Pantheon was so good. I hope people are paying attention. I hope people in the industry are actually looking at Pantheon and think, wow, this is really extraordinary, because it is. It was so well written, with so much time with the characters, very worthwhile. And there's a lesson there, I think, for storytellers, especially cinematic or television storytellers, to look at that and say, "Wow, this is literally a masterpiece. This is the classic already, right out of the gates." That people are now thankfully seeing on Netflix, and that's the magic. And these other enterprises are putting gobs of money on established properties or remakes or whatever, in hopes of trying to almost fool their way into success. Fake it till you make it. They're kind of doing that. And I do understand. I understand that the entertainment industry is in a really big jam these days because it's just so expensive to create new, interesting, original material. That's why they fall back on that other stuff. But it's also, to me, reflective of the fracture lines in the entertainment industry as well. That's the way that they're going.